We have made it into the month of June here in year number 5 of the San Francisco Giants franchise here on MLB the Show 24. And things are continuing to go well for us early in the season as we are 41-18, currently with the best record in the National League, coming off a solid month of May. I think the biggest storyline, of course, was Kyle Harrison getting hurt and ultimately replacing him with top prospect Scott Rios, who we drafted all the way back in Season 1. He's been developing for us. And there's good news and bad news about his first month in the big leagues. The good news is, through 6 starts, he looks like the real deal. 2.94 ERA, whip is barely above 1. I mean, he's been terrific, but he tore his hamstring and is going to miss the next month or two. We also made the decision to put Carson Whisenhunt on waivers. He had such a good start to the year, but then has tailed off really quickly. In other injury news, Yariel Rodriguez, who missed the first month and a half of the year, re-injured himself on his very first at-bat back. But despite some of the injury issues his team has had, we've still been playing really, really well. Munetaka Murakami at the top of the list. He has been one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball. The rest of the lineup has been really solid. The bullpen has been one of the best in the league, really other than Camilo Doval, who of our main relievers has the highest ERA. The question with this team is the pitching rotation. I feel like Mason Miller's had a good year. Sandy Alcantara is playing really well, but otherwise it's been inconsistent with Logan Webb struggling and some of the injuries we've had to deal with. For right now, Fernando Molina will be inserted in the rotation. He has started in 5 games in his big league career, but I do see him as a starter long term. Out of the bullpen, he's been really good for us over the last few years. And then the rookie, Peter Reed, gets the other spot. We drafted him in the second round just this past season. He'll be making his big league debut after a couple strong months in the minors. I want to give him an opportunity here with Kyle Harrison and Scott Rios out. That way we can keep a lefty in the mix. And I think Peter Reed is ready for his opportunity here up at the show. So we're going to play in his debut this last game here against Minnesota. The Rockies have claimed Carson Whisenhunt off waivers, but since we can revoke the waiver request, we can take him back. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take him off of waivers and trade him to the Rockies. That way we can get a little something for him. We're going to acquire 2 C potential prospects with 18-year-old starting pitcher Lawrence Bostar and a young outfielder in Domingo Perez. I really just don't see Whisenhunt as a long-term piece of the future. He's way too inconsistent. I like where we're at pitching-wise for the long term, so I think we're going to move off of him. Let's hop into this game here against Minnesota. 5-0 in the bottom of the 8th. Tommy Rogers looking for his 3rd home run of the game. This is game 2 of this series. Rogers also homered in the first matchup, so that's 3 over the last 2 games. But he does strike out there on the pitch from Tyler Wells. Luckily, we get the win, though, 7-0. Blake Sabol adds another one with a solo shot, and then J.P. Crawford adds in run number 7 with an RBI single. So really good showing here offensively. Rogers goes deep twice, drives in 3. But the big story has to be Mason Miller. 8 2/3 innings, doesn't allow any runs, strikes out 13 batters. He's been playing really well this season. Again, I feel like he's been our most consistent starter throughout the course of the year. In the game before, we won 8-1. As I said, Rogers went deep. Sandy Alcantara went the entire way, only letting up 1. We've outscored the Twins 15-1 over the first 2 games, and Minnesota's a solid team. It's not like we're beating up on the White Sox. So that'll bring us into this last matchup. Peter Reed, the 21-year-old lefty hailing from Oklahoma, will be making his big league debut. We drafted him just last season. A very highly rated player off the bat. Showed some good things in spring training. Wasn't great, though, but he's had a really good season in AAA, and I think at the very least, getting him a few games here up in the big leagues isn't a bad idea. I'm intrigued to see what he is made of. He's got a 5-pitch mix. Now, I don't think he's got that high of a ceiling. I think he's kind of capped at where he is, but I think he's a pretty good player as it currently stands. As there's a look at both lineups, and here is Dustin May getting the start for the Twins. He's had a nice year, 2.8 ERA, 1.15 whip. But he's got to face off against what has been probably the best lineup in the majors this season. We'll start with Tommy Rogers. 3 home runs in this series against the Twins, and he draws a walk. Good to see him getting on base there. The walk rate is going up. Still not great, but it's higher than it's been over the last 2 years. And with Rogers aboard at his speed, you best believe we're going to look to run, as he is safe on second base. And just like that, the Giants get themselves a runner in scoring position here for Ian Happ. He got a little excited there. He thought that was going to be an off-speed pitch and curved down, but the slurve stays up Great pitch by May. However, the Giants are still going to look to get the run. Going to be a close play at first, but Murakami is safe. Good hustle, and it'll be ruled as an infield single off the bat at nearly 120 miles an hour. Runners on the corners, 2 away for Blake Sabol. Ooh, that's a close call. That was clearly, as you can see on the bottom left, in the strike zone. But the umpire calls it ball 3. Looks like we might have just been given a big break. Full count for Sabol. That one goes for ball 4. The inning should be over, but now the bases are loaded. So in other words, knowing us, the inning is over. Stone Garrett, however, has other plans. Into center field for a base hit. 1 run scores. Second looks to join. He is safe. A 2-run single for Stone Garrett, and San Francisco is on the board here in the first inning, all because of a bad call by the umpire. Crawford grounds it to short, flips it over to second, and the lead stays at 2. I guess it could have been worse for the Twins, but they kind of got screwed over by a bad call behind the plate. So already, the 21-year-old lefty, Peter Reed, has some run support. He's got a 4-seamer that tops at 96, a 2-seamer, a slider, and some other off-speed pitches. Overall, a really intriguing 5-pitch mix. He throws somewhat hard. He's got pretty good stuff, as he starts with Edward Julian having a really good season, hitting .340. And sure enough, singles into left. A leadoff single for Minnesota. And they start this game with a runner aboard for Austin Martin. On the ground, this could be 2. Happ, Donovan over to first. It is a 4-6-3 double play. And Peter Reed gets his first 2 outs of his big league career. Royce Lewis now looks at a full count. And he goes down on the curveball. Strikeout number 1 for Reed. Overall, a pretty good first inning. He let up the early hit, but we were able to double him up, as it's a 2-0 Giants lead going into the second. Brendan Donovan, rough first couple of weeks of the year, but ever since then, he has been a man on a mission. Behind 1-2, goes down looking. This time we don't get the call from the umpire. May with his second K of the day. That'll bring us back to the top of the order. Tommy Rogers walked in his first at-bat. 2-2 into right, base hit. The thing with Tommy is just about consistently getting on base. With his speed, we want him on as much as possible. So already he's off to a good start with a walk and a single. That'll bring up Jung-Hoo Lee, potentially looking to drive him in. Ahead in the count 2-1, and this one is up the middle. That one goes for a hit. Rogers on his high horse, round second, heads for third, and he's out! What a throw by Byron Buxton to gun down the runner. It remains 2-0. We go bottom second. 3-1 here for Jake Rogers, and that is not a walk. It's strike 2. And as you see here on the bottom left, again, I think the umpire made the wrong call. I think Minnesota got screwed over for a second time. So Jake Rogers will take matters into his own hands as he crushes it into left center, and that one is gone. The Twins are on the board. Peter Reed lets up his first career run and his first career home run. Number 9 on the year for Rogers, the former Tiger. And Minnesota on the board, as it is now a 2-1 ball game. So Minnesota gets one there, and ultimately the bad call by the umpire ends up working out for them. Yariel Rodriguez now up the middle, singles into center field, and it seems like Minnesota is going to try to rally around the poor umping, as they now get 2 runners to start the inning, and that'll bring up Byron Buxton, who had the big defensive play in the top half of the frame, as that one gets by Reed for a single into center field. So far here in this second inning, Peter Reed does not look too good. And as we look at his overall body of work so far, he's faced off against 6 batters, and 4 of them have gotten hits off of him. Full count now for Spencer Steer. He's someone who really hits well against left-handed pitching. So because of that, Reed wants to be a little bit cautious, but he ends up walking him. And the bases are now loaded with nobody out. What an opportunity here for Michael Arroyo to look to crack this game open as it's lined over to first. Garrett bobbles it. Throw to first. Not in time. Everybody's safe. Game tied at 2. There's still nobody out. This inning is a pitch or 2 away from becoming a catastrophe. Kyan Kincaid down the line and foul. A close one there. Minnesota would have gotten at least 2 to score there. Now it's 1-2 for Kincaid, and he swings and misses on the fastball. Reed needed that one badly as he looks to figure some things out. And with this being his debut, we might not keep him in for much longer. We've already got some action in the bullpen as Julian sends it down the line. That's a fair ball. 3-2 Twins looking to add to the lead. 4-2 Twins. with a one-out double for Edward Julian. And Peter Reed's big league debut is falling apart and fast. We're going to keep him in as it's Austin Martin now. 1-2. Into the gap. That's going to score 2 more. And I would imagine that'll be it for Reed. A 6-2 lead for the Twins as the 21-year-old lefty gets shell-shocked in his big league debut. An inning in the third, 6 earned runs so far. That number could go up to 7 depending on if Minnesota scores Martin. Just overall, not a great debut for Reed. It is his first game, but clearly the nerves and the butterflies must have gotten to him because that was a disaster. Yariel Rodriguez will come out of the bullpen to replace him, looking to keep this game afloat. He's had a terrific season so far as he starts with Royce Lewis. 1-2, liner into left. Doesn't have much height, but he hit it so hard that it makes its way over the fence for a 2-run shot. The Twins add to the lead. It is now 8-2. Maybe it doesn't matter who pitches. The Minnesota offense just happens to be on a hot streak. 8 runs here in the second inning, and there's still only 1 out. Jake Rogers started the inning with a home run, and he goes down on the fastball. Big strikeout for Yariel Rodriguez as he faces off against Emmanuel Rodriguez, the postseason MVP, back in year 1 of this series, as the count sits at 1-2, and he goes down on the fastball as well. Well, that inning didn't go so well. The Twins add 8, 7 of which earned runs allowed by Peter Reed. And we go into the third. Ian Happ looking to cut into this deficit. He hits it well into center. Buxton at the track. At the wall, it's gone! Solo home run for Ian Happ, and it looks like the Giants at the very least are going to attempt to make it a game, as it is now an 8-3 score. Happ with home run number 12 on the season. And now it is a 5-run deficit. That'll bring up Stone Garrett. Base hit to start this game. Lines it to first, caught by Minnesota. But hey, if we score 1 run in every inning the rest of the way, we would win 9-8. Let's just do that and also have the pitching play flawlessly the rest of the way. This is going to be a lot easier said than done as Byron Buxton goes down looking. Another punch out for Rodriguez. Now Spencer Steer, his next victim. 4 consecutive strikeouts for Yariel Rodriguez. He'll look to make it 5 against Michael Arroyo. And these are all the same guys who had all the hits in the second inning. But Arroyo goes down looking on the splitter. Rodriguez strikes out the side. 3 Ks in a row. As that'll bring us into the 4th. J.P. Crawford gets the inning started. Crawford statistically has been the weak link in our lineup this year, but he's still having a good season. OPS in the mid-700s as this one is lined into left. He's going to head back to first. Took an unlucky bounce off of the foul wall. He originally wanted a double, but we just need as many base runners as we can get given the deficit. Leody Taveras puts it on the ground. This should be 2. 5-4-3, double play. Good job by the Minnesota infield to be able to turn a pair. That'll send us now to Brendan Donovan, 2-1. This one is lined off the glove of the third baseman. Going to be a tough play. Throw to first is in time. Showing off the leather is Royce Lewis at the hot corner. And it remains 8-3. What is that mascot? Is that supposed to be a bear? Or what? Because we already had the Cubs. I don't know. I'm not going to question it. Kyan Kincaid goes down looking. Another strikeout for Rodriguez. That's 6 punch-outs in a row. He is absolutely shoving right now. Will he make it 7 against Julian? Yes, he does. Again, these were all the same guys who were raking off of Peter Reed early in this game. Now they can't even put the bat to the ball. Maybe 8 in a row here with Austin Martin. 3-2. Got him looking. 8 strikeouts in a row. For Yariel Rodriguez, he led up the home run to Royce Lewis, and then ever since then, he has been quite literally flawless. Bottom 5, he's not done. His streak would come to a close, but he's going to start a new streak as Jake Rogers swings and misses. Now Emmanuel Rodriguez, not a strikeout, but a liner into left. Rogers makes the play. Yariel Rodriguez is putting on a masterclass right now. Maybe we should have just started him. 8-3 going into the 6th. Dustin May's day is done. Not a perfect performance, but when your offense has an 8-run inning, well, there's not much harm you can really do as the starting pitcher. And the longtime veteran John Gray will come out of the bullpen to replace him as he starts things off with Munetaka Murakami. This one is lined into left center, and Buxton will not make the play as he trips himself up near the wall. Murakami rounding second, headed for third. Going to be a close play, but he is safe with a triple. The current National League MVP frontrunner finds himself 90 feet away from home, his second triple of the year, and Blake Sable's going to drive him in with no problem. Oppo Taco for Sable, and it's 8-5. San Francisco clawing themselves back into this game slowly but surely. For Sable, that is his 14th of the year amongst the top of the home run leaderboard amongst catchers across Major League Baseball this year. Overall, the offense has had a pretty good game. 5 runs so far in essentially 5 innings. But that one, bottom of the second inning, completely killed us because other than that inning, the pitching's been good as well. Stone Garrett goes down looking on the fastball, and the Twins would get through the rest of the frame as we go bottom 6. Base hit for Buxton, their first base runner since the second inning. The home run by Lewis made it 8-2, and then they haven't gotten anyone aboard since then until now. Spencer Steer is up for the Twins as he goes down on the splitter. Another strikeout for Rodriguez. I think he's at 10. With how well he's pitching, we've wanted to keep him in the game. No reason to take the hot hand out as Arroyo singles into right. Buxton makes his way over to third. And so now there are runners on the corners here with one away. Rodriguez is starting to slip up a little bit. He's over his pitch count. We wanted to ride with him until the wheels fell off, and well, they are starting to fall off. So we'll replace him with the reliable and stable righty, Yariel de los Santos, who's had less volume than last year, but he still has been really, really good. And sure enough, Kincaid puts it on the ground. Should be 2, and it will! Yariel de los Santos gets out of the jam as it remains 8-5. And Rodriguez officially allows 0 runs in what was a terrific outing from him out of the bullpen. Top 7, Brendan Donovan goes down looking on the fastball. Good pitch by John Gray. Now Jun-Hoo Lee is up, and this one is skied into the outfield. Should be caught, and it will. So we're going to have our work cut out for us over those last 2 innings, down by 3. Not impossible. I mean, the Twins got 8 in 1 inning, for Christ's sake. But not going to be easy. De Los Santos remains in the game, unsurprisingly, as Edward Julian goes down on the off-speed circle change. Good pitch by De Los Santos for the first out of the frame. That'll bring up Austin Martin now, 1 for 3 in this game with a double. Count is even 1-1, and this one is hit into center. Tavares will not be able to make the play. And so the Twins get a runner aboard here with 1 away. With them not really getting anything since the second inning, I'm sure they'd love to add a little bit more insurance. 2 away, Rogers swinging a miss on the circle change once again. As De Los Santos gets through the frame. An inning and 2/3 scoreless out of the pen for De Los Santos as we move into the 8th. Munetaka Murakami clubs another one. He has been launching home runs out of the park all season long, and it doesn't look like he is done. That one goes over the fence, and we are within 2. It's now 8-6. That one off of Jorge Alcala, who has come out of the bullpen here from Minnesota. Now it's going to be Blake Sable. Homered in his last at-bat, but he goes down on the inside fastball. Nice pitch by Jorge through the second out of the inning. And now that'll bring up Stone Garrett. I don't think there's a single player on this roster who knows anything about timely hits more than this guy does. But he grounds out to first. Kincaid makes the play. We get 1 in this inning with the homer by Murakami, but we still have work to do. We're going to need at least 2 in the 9th, assuming we get a scoreless inning from Jojo Romero, who has only let up 1 run in 20 innings of work. He has been terrific, as he will start off with fellow lefty Yariel Rodriguez, who's ahead 3-1, and he draws a walk. With the lefty-on-lefty matchup, the last thing we wanted to do there was let Rodriguez get on base, especially considering he's pretty fast. Buxton on the ground. Could this be 2? Bad throw by Donovan. Even worse throw from Ian Happ. Are they going to call that a double error? Could have been a double play, but both throws were bad. And now there's runners on first and second with nobody out for Steer. We're going to look to turn 2 again. Donovan to first in time. It is a successful double play, but not so successful for Minnesota. Byron Buxton, as he slid into second base, hurt his back. Doesn't look like a long-term injury, but the Twins want to be cautious. He certainly has an injury history, a very long one. As Arroyo strikes out and San Francisco gets through the inning. Jojo Romero had to record like 5 outs in that inning, but he's able to do it. And we go into the 9th. Minnesota looking to finish off the job. In for closing time, it's Alexis Diaz, a guy who I feel like historically we've performed quite well against in this series when he was with the Reds. So it'll be interesting to see what we're able to do with him now on Minnesota. He's had a really good year, 15 of 16 in save ops with an ERA below 2. And that's the magic number. We need 2 to tie as J.P. Crawford singles into right. So we've got a runner aboard. The tying run is now up, and all of a sudden, we could really get something going here. Down by as many as 6 runs earlier in this ball game. Hackman down the line. This could be 2, but Crawford is safe at second. They didn't apply the tag in time, so Hackman moves him into scoring position, but they still do get an out, which I think is the bigger deal. And Donovan launches it into left, but it's foul. That would have tied the game, but it's just a little bit to the left, and sure enough, Brendan Donovan strikes out on the very next pitch. That one hurts. So now that'll bring up Tommy Rogers. He finds himself behind in the count 1-2, and this one is flown into left, not going to have enough carry. And the Minnesota Twins win this game 8-6 off the backs of an 8-run second inning. Their offense did nothing the rest of the game. Their pitching really wasn't good either. But that's what makes baseball weird. You can have one small stretch of that where they're dominant, and that can be enough to win the game. I thought overall we hit the ball pretty well. The pitching, other than the second inning, was terrific. Yariel Rodriguez was awesome. 10 strikeouts in 4 innings. But Peter Reed, a rough debut for the lefty. We're not going to give up on him. He's going to have at least a few more starts until guys get healthy. So he'll have some more chances to redeem himself. But that second inning is the difference between a win and a loss. His ERA right now is at 47 and his whip is at 6. I'm not really sure how his WAR isn't lower than -0.1. So we're going to do a lot of simulating here. We're going to send the next 3 weeks of action because I want to play against Atlanta. This is our first series against the Braves this year after they beat us in the playoffs again last year. So we'll start here in Oakland. We are up 18-1. We scored 13 runs in the first inning, and Stone Garrett is a single shy of the cycle. There you go, up the middle, base hit, a cycle for Stone Garrett here at the Coliseum, which in this series still exists and has not been destroyed yet. I'm surprised there hasn't been a milestone before the 9th inning with how well we hit the ball, especially early in this game. I've seen a lot of things on this game. I don't think I've ever seen 13 runs in an inning, let alone the first inning. Unfortunately, we would not drive Stone Garrett in, and we only win this game by 17 runs. Not enough. Do better, guys. But in all seriousness, a really, really strong win. I think that goes without saying. 18 runs, 15 hits. Really good start for Fernando Molina. That's going to be swept under the rug because the offense was unreal in this game. Everybody was dominant other than Munetaka Murakami, who went 0 for 6. Surprisingly, we only had 2 home runs in this game. 1 for Sable and obviously 1 for Garrett, who hit for the cycle. And then Molina, 6 1/3, only letting up 1 run. Bullpen did their thing. And then the A's really did not have much go their way. Echeverria, the starter, records 1 out, allows 7. The long reliever, Estes, allows 6, recording 1 out. So fittingly, 2 games later, we have scored 0 runs here, trailing 1-0. As Munetaka Murakami comes off the bench down 0-2. Why couldn't we have donated some of the runs from that first game into this one? We didn't need all 18. As Murakami ends up striking out on the curveball. If Munetaka Murakami only struck out like 20% of the time, he really would be the best hitter in the league. Stone Garrett now coming off the bench himself, grounds it to first, nice scoop, tags the base, and Garrett, who also comes into this game as a pinch hitter, was unable to drive in either of the runs. We would end up getting another opportunity, though, later in this game here in the 9th inning. Tommy Rogers has a 13-game hitting streak on the line. He's been really playing well as of recent. Thomas White, meanwhile, looking for the complete game as Rogers hits it into center, and that will drop for a hit. 14-game hit streak for Tommy Rogers. He's really done a good job over the last month or so of hitting for contact, drawing walks. The biggest thing from last year to this year is Rogers is getting on base at a way higher clip. Now we've got to drive Rogers in. This is why I like having Tommy Rogers at the top of the order, because the speedster is on base for our great offensive players behind him. Problem is, the A's throw him out as he's going for second. Tyler Soderstrom guns him down, and now there's nobody on. Ian Happ strikes out, and all of a sudden, We're down to our final out against Adrian Morejon, who has come into this game for the save. It comes down to Leody Taveras, swinging a miss on the fastball, and the Giants are unable to sweep Oakland. We do win the series 2-1, but we lose this last game 1-0, just a couple days removed from a game where we scored 18 runs. Again, all we needed to do is donate a couple. We could have scored 15 runs in that first game and, slid 3 over here. Really good showing from Thomas White, 8 scoreless innings. Sandy Alcantara pitched a really good game as well. He has been on a tear over the last month or so. It was a little hot and cold to start the year, but since the start of May, he's probably been the best pitcher in the entire league. I mean, he has been unbelievable. Leody Taveras suffers a shoulder injury. He'll be out for a week or two. Heliot Ramos is going to get the call up to the big leagues. He's had some good moments in the majors. Maybe he can have a consistent stretch, and you never know, he might stick on the roster. So in this Seattle series, look at this. Sandy Alcantara is perfect through 6. We're 9 outs away from history. Let's do this thing. Sandy Alcantara has been pitching so well as of recent, looking to put a stamp on it with a potential perfect game as Jonathan Clase goes down on the fastball. That'll bring up Cole Young now. 2-2. Pops it up into foul territory. Peguero chases after it, and he will make the play for the second out of the inning. Again, I've done a lot on this channel in MLB the Show. Never have gotten or seen a perfect game, but Sandy Alcantara is 2 innings away as he strikes out Yariel Rodriguez. I think this is probably the closest I've ever gotten to a perfect game, so buckle up. Let's see what happens. Into the 8th, Luis Urias goes down on the 12-6 curve. There's no way this actually happens, right? That'll bring up the number 5 hitter, Lorenzo Gonzalez. First pitch of the at-bat. Up the middle. Oh, no! It's a base hit! And the perfect game is over. 7 1/3 from Sandy Alcantara. And I guess the somewhat unfortunate thing is that he did not allow a base runner the rest of the way. He was able to get the final 5 outs of the game, completing the complete game shutout. But if he doesn't let up that one hit, we're probably looking at a perfect game. Nonetheless, an unbelievable outing tonight from Sandy Alcantara. 1 hit, no walks. He was terrific. Offense was solid. They did enough. I mean, they didn't need to do much for Sandy, whose ERA right now sits at 2.24. His whip is below 1. I mean, he has been unbelievable as of recent. He is going to get a bag in the offseason, and if he continues to play like this, hopefully that bag is going to be from us. He's currently 6th in the NL in pitching WAR, and look who's in first. Mason Miller. He has had a really, really good year. Him and Sandy in this rotation have been terrific. And even though the rest of the pitching rotation's been inconsistent, Logan Webb hasn't been very good, and the other spots have been changing left and right with all these injuries. But those 2 guys have been our rocks. Into this series against Philadelphia, we're up 4-3 in the 8th. Runner goes for second against Brendan Donovan. He's a triple shy of the cycle. That's not a triple, but it is his 4th hit of the game, a single into right field. And so now there's runners on the corners, 1 away. Will we do anything? Yes! Tommy Rogers RBI double. And then we blow it at the end. We let up 2 in the 8th, another in the 9th, and we end up losing the game 6-5. The Phillies have had a pretty good season this year. They lost quite a bit in free agency, most notably Brandon Marsh, who's now with the Cubs. But they've had a pretty solid season for the most part. They're getting some good contributions from some young guys. It was big that they were able to re-sign Luis Robert last offseason. He's had a great year for them. Johan Oviedo, 6 innings of 1-run ball. Later in the Phillies series, tied at 3. We were down 3-0 going into the 8th. But Patrick Bailey led the way with a homer. We drove in a couple other runs. And now the former Philly, Jojo Romero, comes out of the bullpen here in the bottom half of the inning with the bases loaded. Not a great showing from Manuel de los Santos as Cartaya flies it into right. That one's going to make it all the way to the warning track. Jung-Hoo Lee will make the play. That'll be plenty of room to score the runner off as a sacrifice, though. And so the Philadelphia Phillies now lead it 4-3. Let's see if they can maybe get some more. Trying to make this a little bit more comfortable because given that they let up 3 in the 8th, they certainly aren't going to feel good about a 1-run lead. Rodolfo Castro grounds it to first. Garrett makes a nice play, tags the base. It's a 1-run game going into the 9th inning, and unfortunately, that would not be enough. The Phillies get the job done. They would get the save, and they win it by the final score of 4-3, ultimately winning the series here at Citizens Bank Ballpark. as the Phillies look to show that, once again, they are a team to be reckoned with in the NL. Scott Barlow, the former Giant, gets the win, and Jose Leclerc, another former Giant, wins the player of the game. Not ideal. Bailey and Rogers both went deep in that 8th inning. The pitching was really solid, but the bullpen allowing the 1 run, that certainly was not ideal, along with a shaky first couple of innings. So Leody Taveras is back. Elliot Ramos goes back down to the minors, as that brings us to this series against the Pirates. We were down 2-0 going into the 9th. Jared Jones had a shutout going, but we score 1 run. We had the tying run at 3rd, the winning run at 1st, a golden chance to come back and win this game against one of baseball's better closers in David Bednar. Tommy Rogers is up into right field. Tie game! So the Pirates blow a perfectly nice 2-0 lead going into the bottom of the 9th inning. And now the winning run is at second base with 1 away for Jung-Hoo Lee, hitting .323 this season. Broken bat, could be 2. They get Rogers at second. Throw to first, not in time. Good hustle by Jung-Hoo Lee. And more importantly, the runner makes it to 3rd. So just like that, runners on the corners, winning run, 90 away from home plate for J.P. Crawford. This one is hit high into center, not going to be deep enough, as it will be caught, but a successful inning. We end up tying the game, bringing it into extras, and sure enough, we would walk it off. 3-run blast to win it for Brendan Donovan in the bottom of the 10th, off of Bednar, to win this game 5-2. Overall, not a great offensive game, but we clutched it up late when we needed to, getting 2 in the 9th, and then Donovan winning it there in the 10th. Mason Miller, good start. Yariel Rodriguez has been on an absolute heater, gets the win with 4 scoreless. Tommy Rogers with another multi-home run game. He's had a really strong month of June. He hits this one well, looking for home run number 3, but unfortunately that's not going to have enough carry, as it will be caught in center field. Rogers' powers this year started off slow, but again, over the last month or so, it's been really solid. Now, the Pirates would make it a game. They'd cut the lead to 2, but we still get the job done. We end up getting the win, continuing what's been a really strong month of June. The offense was really good. 9 hits, 6 walks, 7 runs. Peter Reed got the start. He was pretty good. And over his last few starts, he really hasn't been that bad. I get the numbers don't look good, but if you cross out his first game, 22 innings, and he would have allowed, 11 runs? That's an ERA of 4.5. Not spectacular, but it's replacement level, which is what we were looking for given all these injuries. And now going into the Atlanta series, we are 30 games above 500, including this 11-0 win over Washington. Really good offensive game. Fernando Molina does his thing. So we have made it to the halfway point of the season. We are on pace for over 110 wins. We have the stranglehold over the National League, which currently the same 6 teams are projected to make the playoffs for a 3rd year in a row. In terms of the pitching, we're going to get guys healthy soon. The rotation's doing a lot better. Fernando Molina, though, is pitching really well. He does not want to lose his spot. Munetaka Murakami is on pace for like 45 home runs, 130 RBIs, WAR around 7, OPS at like 1,000. But the guy I really want to talk about here is Tommy Rogers. I think it's fair to say Tommy's made the leap into stardom. He is on pace for 36 home runs, 120 RBIs, OPS is above 900, average is close to 300. The walks obviously are still not great, but they're improving. Tommy Rogers has been a superstar over the last 2 months of the season. I mean, the guy's playing really, really well. It seems like he's finally figured it out. It took him a little while. He's been in the big leagues for over 2 years, but dude's balling. And with how well our bullpen's played, with how well our lineup has played, we're going to have a bunch of all-stars. Blake Sabol, 22 home runs, close to his career high, on pace for over 40. Brendan Donovan might be an all-star. Obviously, Murakami will, although he might not even be the starter. Ian Happ and Tommy Rogers tied in left. There's Jung-Hoo Lee. Stone Garrett could be an all-star, and of course, that's with our pitching. Fernando Molina's probably going to be an all-star. Yariel Rodriguez might make it. Camilo Doval probably shouldn't make it, but he probably will. Sandy Alcantara is going to be an all-star. Mason Miller might get in. Kyle Harrison is off the injured list. Everything's going well for us, and we're going to send Peter Reed down to the minors. I thought he did a good job over his last 4 or 5 starts, but with Kyle Harrison back and Fernando Molina pitching really well, it's not like we're going to take him out of the rotation. Reed becomes the odd man out, and that brings us to this series against Atlanta. We're going to play the first of 3. 56-26. If we play 500 ball the rest of the way, we're still going to win 96 games, which might be good enough for the number one seed. It's crazy to think an 100-win season at this point would probably be a disappointment for us as we take a look at both lineups. Obviously, the Braves had a huge offseason after losing the World Series. I'm excited to see Fernando Molina here. He has done really well in his 4 starts this year. He's been terrific out of the bullpen, and he's got a really good chance of making the All-Star team as a reliever. But if he continues to pitch this well as a starter, I don't really see him coming out of the rotation. As Ozzie Albies strikes out, Christian Arroyo now 3-2. This one is lined into right, and that one's going to roll to the wall. That one takes an incredible bounce off the corner of the wall. I don't even think Jun-Hoo Lee really misplayed it that bad. It's just that the ball bounced off the wall really fast. And because of that, Arroyo's going to make it over to third for a triple. Even with this loaded lineup, the Braves are giving some guys the day off. No O'Neal Cruz today. So Arroyo slides into 2-hole, and he will score as Ronald Acuna brings him home with a single. Leody Taveras can't seem to get rid of the ball. And already Atlanta strikes first. They lead 1-0. Gunnar Henderson now sends this one into right, acquired in the offseason in a trade with Baltimore. Acuna will score, and a quick start to this game for the Braves as they lead it 2-0. An uncharacteristic first inning for the red-hot Fernando Molina as he now faces off against Sean Murphy, who chases the slider, and Molina gets out of the frame, but he does let up 2. So Kyle Wright has some early run support. He's been pretty average this year, 4.28 ERA, 1.15 whip. Hasn't been bad, hasn't really been good either. We'll start with Tommy Rogers. He's been hot, and he's going to continue his great stretch as he singles into right. And the 20-year-old appears to be very close to making his first All-Star team. He might start in the All-Star game, his competition being this guy, Ian Happ. And this one goes into right field. It'll make its way to the wall for a double. We're going to hold Rogers at third as Happ is out at second. Oh, wow, I didn't think they were going to get him, but they do, and that kind of changes everything. Instead of second and third with 1 out, now we need a base hit from Munetaka Murakami. And with how he's played this year, that should be no problem. Launches it into left. That one is gone. And this game is tied at 2. Could be 3-2 if Ian Happ hustled. But you know what? We'll take what we can get. Home run number 23 for Munetaka Murakami. That leads the National League. He also leads the NL in RBIs by a wide margin. Nobody in all of Major League Baseball is close to him in terms of runs batted in. Save ball with a shot to third. Riley makes the play. The name Austin Riley still gives me flashbacks from the NLCS last year where he torched us. He homered, I think, 6 times in the series, including the walk-off in Game 6 to send the Braves to the World Series. As Teoscar Hernandez strikes out, one of their many offseason acquisitions, along with Gunnar Henderson and Shane Bieber and re-upping Ozzie Albies, as Crawford makes a great play at the hot corner. Throw to first is in time. That one off the bat of the first baseman, Tyler Stevenson. Crawford doesn't usually play third, but that might be an endorsement for him to be there more. Stone Garrett goes down on the slurve. Nice pitch by Kyle Wright. Stone Garrett has such great plate discipline against everybody except for the Braves. I don't get it. As Brendan Donovan gets a piece of it into right, that baby is out of here, and the Giants take the lead 3-2 as that ball makes its way near the cove. For Donovan, it's home run number 11 on the season, and he's hitting like .310. Looking back at the offseason where we re-signed Donovan and Alcantara to very short-term deals, in hindsight, those might have been bad moves for us because both of those guys have played so well, they're going to be signing for way more this offseason, whether that's here or somewhere else, as Crawford hits this one into right, looking for another home run, but it does not quite have enough carry. Acuna makes the play. But the Giants take their first lead of the evening with a solo shot for Brendan Donovan. 3-2 into the third as Ozzie Albies gets things started, and he will draw a walk. Of course, the talk of the offseason was how much we coveted Albies and the disappointment that he re-signed with Atlanta. Albies is having a great season. He currently leads the NL in terms of all-star voting at second base. So as good as this team is, imagine us with him on the roster as Arroyo grounds into the double play. Good job by Molina to beat him out on the throw. But as I was saying, we were right about our assessment of Ozzie Albies, and with him on this team, we would be basically the National League All-Star team as Ronald Acuna goes down on the slider. Good inning by Molina, who's settled in after a slow start. Bottom 3, Jun-Hoo Lee singles into center. We haven't really talked about Lee that much this season. That's because he's doing what Jung-Hoo Lee would normally do. He's hitting around 320, decent enough power. He's getting on base. He's doing what he's done for the last 5 years. Nothing's new with him, per se, good or bad. Ian Happ grounds it to short, should be 2, and it will. Double play to get the Braves out of the inning. A middle infield of Gunnar Henderson and Ozzie Albies is just not fair. That shouldn't be legal. Into the 4th, Austin Riley goes down looking on the changeup. Why couldn't he have not swung the bat like this in the playoffs last year? That would have been nice. Gunnar Henderson now up for Atlanta. Behind 1-2, swinging a miss on the fastball. Good pitch from Fernando, his 6th strikeout of the game. And he has looked really good since that first inning. Looking like, dare I say, an all-star as Blake Sable sends this one into the gap. And the rough game from Kyle Wright continues. We're just really hitting the ball well. We're hitting for contact. We're hitting for power. That's going to go for a 1-out double. And the Giants give themselves a runner in scoring position for Stone Garrett. This one goes up the middle, off of Wright's legs. Albies gets to it, but there will be no throw. So it is an infield single for Garrett, as Wright appears to be banged up. They're going to talk to him here on the mound, but he's going to be a tough cookie. He's going to stay in this ball game. But he's in a little bit of the jam right here. Runners on the corners, 1 away. Nice opportunity for San Francisco to really break this lead open with Brendan Donovan, who homered earlier. He lines this one into left for a single. His 2nd hit of the game, drives in his 2nd run. And it is a 4-2 lead for the Giants as Brendan Donovan continues his excellent campaign. 2 on, 2 away. J.P. Crawford grounds it to 3rd. Dribbler to Riley, sends it to 2nd. But San Francisco adds another run with the RBI single by Brendan Donovan, and that will bring us into the 5th. Teoscar Hernandez gets things started for the Braves. This one gets over the glove of Crawford, and it's a leadoff single for the Braves, who are looking to get something going here, as they have been ice cold since the first. Tyler Stevenson now robbed of a hit after a really good play in his first at-bat from Crawford, as this one is hit well into left center. Taveras at the track, at the wall, it is gone! Scrapes over the fence, a 2-run shot for Tyler Stevenson, and this game is tied at 4. Molina's numbers are not looking great in this one. 4 innings, 4 earned runs, but I feel like overall he's pitched a pretty strong game. His pitch count, though, is getting up there, and he is still on a pitch count because, well, he's never really been a starter. He was a reliever in college. He was mostly a reliever in the minor leagues. He's been mostly a reliever with us. So we don't want to have him out there for 100 pitches and make his arm turn into rubber. So we're going to yank him here, even though I would trust him to continue for another inning or so. He'll be replaced by the righty Joel Payamps, who's had a pretty good season, signed out of free agency from the Brew Crew. Jonathan Aranda gets things started at the track, at the wall, and right, and it's caught. That ball just barely does not have enough as Jung-Hoo Lee is able to make the play, and Aranda sitting there wondering, what could I have done to have that ball go an extra 5 feet? Ozzie Albies sharply hit to first. Murakami with a snag, and he can't get rid of the ball. What was that? Quentin Johnston needs whatever Murakami had on his hands there because the ball was not leaving them. Runner on first now for Albies. Puts it on the ground to 3rd, and it looks like I don't want to say dad play at first by Murakami because he made a nice diving snag, but him not getting rid of the ball won't matter. Put it that way. Bottom 5 up the middle. Happ, grounder to 2nd. Albies will not have a throw to first. It's an infield single. This time Ian Happ does hustle. Good job. See, kids, that's what happens when you run out ground balls. Murakami swings at a pitch in the dirt, however. His strikeout rate at around 28% this year. Again, if that was at like 20%, he'd be the best hitter in the league. 4-4 into the 6th. Genesis Cabrera out of the pen. He's only thrown 9 innings for us, but he's been pretty effective with an ERA at 3. He'll start with Austin Riley. This one is hit well into right. Lee after it, and it goes off the wall. Lee wants to be aggressive and go for the catch. He's unsuccessful, and Riley finds himself in scoring position to open up the inning. So the Braves have the runner at 2nd here. Gunnar Henderson now on the ground to short. Donovan going to be a tough play. Backhanded throw, not in time. Runner is safe. So it's an infield single for Henderson, and now there's 2 aboard here for Teoscar Hernandez, who got a base hit and scored in the last inning. He draws a walk. Bases are loaded. Cabrera's not looking too sharp right now, and he will be taken out of the game, ultimately replaced by JoJo Romero. It's a little bit early for Romero. Normally he comes in the game around the 8th inning, but desperate times call for desperate measures. The bases are loaded, and we want the guy who I think has been our best reliever this season to get us out of it. Tyler Stevenson on the ground, should be 2. Donovan, Happ, Murakami, double play. We're on the other end of it this time. Atlanta leaves them loaded. The Giants defense turns 2. This game remains tied as we go to the bottom half of the frame. The reigning Cy Young winner, Michael King, who's been used largely as a reliever for God knows what reason, comes out of the pen for Atlanta. His numbers are better than Kyle Wright. I don't know why he's not in the rotation instead of Wright. As Blake Sabol hits it up the middle over his head, King had to duck out of the way. I feel like he could have made that play. It would have been a hard play to make, but he could have at least tried. Nonetheless, it is a single. Sabol now at second, 1 away. Donovan grounds it to short. What a play by Gunnar Henderson, robbing the Giants of probably a run. I think Sabol would have scored there. He finds himself at third, though. 2 away for Leody Taveras. The 1-1. That one gets by him, and we're going to hold the runner. I thought about sending him, but I think he would have been out. I think, in hindsight, that was the right call to keep him. So now it's 2-1 here for Leody Taveras. 0 for 2 today. And this one is hit high into left. That was a good pitch because it was in the strike zone, but it wasn't very hittable. Caught by Henderson. Game remains tied at 4, and we should be in for a pretty good ending. Grab your popcorn, get a snack, get a drink, get comfortable, because these next 3 innings are going to be a show. Jonathan Aranda goes down looking on the sinker. Good start there from JoJo Romero. That'll bring up Ozzie Albies now, 1 for 2. Base hit earlier. He's also walked. As this one is launched into left, Rogers can only watch it fly. That ball is gone. Ozzie Albies should be hitting home runs and then heading back to the home dugout. But unfortunately, we can't all get what we want. His 20th of the year. And the Braves now lead at 5-4. So Ozzie Albies goes deep for Atlanta. And now that'll bring up Christian Arroyo, 1 for 4. Base hit and scored in his first at-bat. Hasn't done anything since as he strikes out on the sinker. Good pitch there by Romero. Ronald Acuna now up for Atlanta with 2 away. This one is shot down the line and fair. With Acuna's speed, it should be a double. Lee gets after it quickly, throws a little bit offline though. And the Braves now the runner here in scoring position. We'll see if they can drive him home and look to add to the lead. Unfortunately for us, it's Austin Riley. Now, he hasn't been that great today. Should not have swung at that pitch. I get protecting with 2 strikes, but that was not the pitch, man. Grounds out to third. Crawford makes the play. But the Braves do take the lead with the home run by Albies, so it's a successful inning. And we go bottom 7. Here's Crawford into right over the head of Acuna as it goes off the bottom of the wall. He hit the ball so hard that he has to stay at first. He would have been out if he tried to leg that into a double. But, hey, we'll take a base hit, even though at other ballparks that's probably not a single. Tommy Rogers now, low pitch, out of the zone, doesn't matter. That one goes off the wall in left center. Now, with nobody out, we're going to be smart. We're not going to be overly aggressive with the runners, keep them where they're at. So Rogers gets a double. He's at second. Crawford's at third. What a swing, though, by Rogers. That wasn't even a strike. And luckily, our decision to be conservative on the bases pays off because Jung-Hoo Lee's going to score both of them with no problem. Rogers almost caught up to Crawford. He's so fast. It's a 2-run double, though, for Jung-Hoo Lee, and the Giants are back ahead as it's now a 6-5 lead for San Francisco. The offense has been cold over the last couple of innings, so it's good to see us really get something there as the Braves go back to the pen. Joe Jimenez will come in here for Atlanta. 4.44, that's a lot of 4s, ERA on this season. As Ian Happ is up with a runner on second, nobody out. And this ball is hit well into center. That'll go for a hit. Runner looks to score. Lee is safe, and it's 7-5. So a big start to the inning here for the Giants offense. We've scored 3. There's still nobody out. Now there's 1. As Blake Sable's up, puts it on the ground. They've been able to turn a lot of double plays today, and here's another one. It feels like we could have gotten more there. Yes, I'm more than pleased we scored 3, but we had something really good there going, and it just stalled out really quick. Hopefully that does not come back to bite us in the butt, but given how good the back end of this bullpen has been, we shouldn't really worry. John Schreiber's only let up 1 run this year, as he does allow a base hit to start the inning to Gunnar Henderson. The last thing we need is for these guys to stack base runners because they've got the offensive personnel to where anybody on this team can send one over the fence. Teoscar Hernandez draws a walk with one away. Schreiber does not look like his best self. Tyler Stevenson now singles into left. Henderson will round third. Rogers' throw is a solid one, but it's not in time. RBI single for Tyler Stevenson. He is now driven in 3 today, and it's 7-6. And Yel de Los Santos comes out of the bullpen to replace Schreiber, who really just did not look like himself. Yeah, Los Santos is in a big spot. Tying run at second. Go ahead run at first. Jonathan Aranda into right center. That ball goes off the top of the wall. 7-7. Run looks to score. It's 8-7. A 2-run double for Jonathan Aranda. We scored 3 in the bottom of the 7th, and Atlanta gets 3 right back. And there's still only 1 out. Make it first and second with a walk for Albies, his second of the game. Atlanta doesn't want to make the same mistake we did where we had a really good start to the inning and then it died out. So this single by Arroyo ends up being a big one because it's going to score a run. Good throw and right, but not in time. And now it's a 9-7 lead for the Braves. Arroyo fired up. Because that brings up Ronald Acuna. He's been productive today. Pair of hits. He walks, and the bases are loaded. And Yel de Los Santos and John Schreiber are 2 of the most consistent relievers on our team. But the 2 of them have faced off against 8 batters in this inning and have only recorded 1 combined out. De Los Santos didn't get anybody out there as Riley strikes out here against Yariel Rodriguez, who's been terrific as of recent. Now against Henderson. Swing and a miss! Atlanta leaves them loaded. Could this not have been enough for the Braves? They scored 5. Again, really good inning, but they had the bases loaded with 1 out and couldn't get any of those guys to score. Let's see if that bites them in the rear end as Penn Murphy comes in the game here in the bottom of the 8th. We'll start things off with Brendan Donovan. He's ahead 3-1, and he draws a walk. So we've got a man aboard, and the tying run will be up at the plate. It's Johnny Hackman coming in off the bench for Taveras, and he singles into left with Donovan making it to second. So now that we've got him in scoring position and there's a real shot we're going to drive him in, we're going to replace him with Leover Peguero, who comes off the bench. But the ultra-important runner is Hackman at first. Rogers gets a hanging pitch he likes, but he swings a little bit early, and that one goes foul. I think Penn Murphy is a really good matchup with Rogers because he excels at hitting breaking balls. That was his pitch, and he got ahead of it. If he times it well, that's a 3-run homer. 1-2. Again, a pitch he likes. Fastball up and away, and he tops it. Slams the bat in frustration as that one is caught to end the inning. Tommy Rogers with a golden opportunity to strike. And unfortunately, he's unable to do it while the iron's hot. And we might not get it that hot again. Into the 9th, Murphy starts the inning with a base hit. We've got to keep the run at 2. It's already an uphill battle, but we can't let them add to this lead. Aranda flies it into left. Rogers is under it. He will make the play. So a good job overall by Yariel Rodriguez, who faces off against 6 batters, lets up 1 hit, strikes out 4. This dude is a demon. And that'll bring us into the bottom of the 9th with our best hitters due up and Griffin Jacks in for the save for Atlanta. He's been very effective as the closer, 17 of 18 in save opportunities. The Braves have had the reliever of the year 2 years in a row, and they've switched their closers after both seasons. It's weird. Jung-Hoo Lee draws a walk. That's a good start. Just got to stack up base runners here, get a couple guys on, and hope for a big swing or 2. Ian Happ now. He's had a good game. 3 hits in this one. And, ooh, that was a close call. Hit the edge of the strike zone. Should have been called strike 3. But it's not. 2-2, he gets plunked. Okay, we'll take it. Tying run is aboard with nobody out. Can Munetaka Murakami, the NL MVP favorite, be the hero? Not if he's swinging at pitches like that. But superstars and big-time players make big-time plays in big-time moments. And boy, this is a big moment here against an Atlanta team who we have not seen since the NLCS last year. Looks at the inside fastball for strike 2. Murakami looks to be the hero for the Giants. And this one goes up the middle for a single. That works. Run will score. Jung-Hoo Lee makes it 9-8. Tying run at second. Winning run at first. Nobody out. We've got ourselves a chance to win this game. Jax faces off against 3 batters. They all reach, and now he will be yanked for Evan Phillips, the reliever of the year last year. He's been better than Jax. I don't know why he's just not the closer. As it's Blake Sabol 1-2. That pitch gets by the catcher. Both runners advance, And now the winning run is at second base. And all we probably need is a single to end it. That wild pitch could prove to be a big deal. Sabol swinging a miss on the high fastball. He got excited. Wanted to end the game right there. Stone Garrett has had no shortage of walk-offs recently. How about another? Into the gap. That's going to do it. Tied at 9. Murakami for the win. Stone Garrett, the hero, once again. That's been a very common theme over the last year or so. Stone Garrett has had, it feels like 5 or 6 walk-offs for this team. This is a guy who delivers in the biggest moments of the game. I would call him a high-leverage merchant. Bottom of the second, scoreless game, nobody on. He's not going to do anything. But when the money's on the line, when the chips are in the middle of the pile, Stone Garrett delivers. What a game. Dare I say, game of the year? This was a thriller against Atlanta. Back and forth at the end, but we get the job done. Both offenses were terrific. 19 combined runs, 32 combined hits. Two of the best offenses in the league lived up to the billing. So knowing how baseball works, it would make sense that in the second game of the series, there would be 0 runs scored in the first 9 innings of the game. We're going to extras as Albies flies out to right for the second out of the inning. Cole Irvin's in the game, and I think we're going to keep him. We used the entire bullpen in the last game other than him and Camilo Duvall. And in hindsight, maybe we should have just put Duvall in because Christian Arroyo will look to score 2 here. That one rolls to the wall. It goes for a 2-run double. Christian Arroyo is just our kryptonite. I don't get it. The Braves have all these great players in their lineup, and it's always guys like Christian Arroyo and Zach McKinstry who kill us. So now we're going to bring in Camilo Duvall. Better late than never. Of a wild pitch, the runner Arroyo would make it to third, but it won't really matter as Acuna pops out to right. Will the offense clutch it up in the bottom of the 10th, just like we did down by 2 in the last game? No, we don't. And Atlanta wins it 2-0. They tied the series at 1. Completely opposite from game 1 to game 2. 19 runs in the first, and then here, 0 runs until the 10th. Michael King pitched in the bullpen in the first game. Here he gets the start and goes 7 1/3 scoreless. You know, if he can do that, then maybe we should have used our regular relievers. Those guys could have pitched 1 inning, right? Kyle Harrison is now fully healthy. He'll be back for July as we win this last game 8-1. Big day for the offense. Murakami homers again, drives in 5. And Sandy Alcantara throws yet another complete game. I've also got to give Logan Webb credit. He pitched pretty well in that second game despite the loss. 8 scoreless innings. His ERA is below 4, and he's pitching a lot better. We've got a big month of July coming in the next episode, including the MLB Draft, All-Star Week. That's going to be a big one for us. We're going to have at least one guy in the Home Run Derby. We're probably going to have 8 or 9 guys in the actual All-Star game. And we're probably going to make it up to the trade deadline, which we're going to have some tough decisions to make because there's not really many ways this team can improve. The offense is the best in the league. The pitching rotation's heating up, and Kyle Harrison's healthy. And the bullpen might be the best in the league, so it's hard to figure out what this team needs help with. But we'll certainly do our due diligence and look for a potential move to put us over the hump and make us the clear World Series frontrunners. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.